My sin is, when Father Evil starts his day, he gets a little deadly. Deadly Grounds coffee has the richest, smoothest flavor you'll find anywhere. It's sinfully delicious. Once you go deadly, you never go back. Order yours at getdeadly.com. Coffee's so good, it's scary.
Persons under 18 will not be admitted.
What the fuck are we gonna do now? Get high?
Hey, happy Wednesday, everybody. You are watching Still Toking with. My name is Leo, and monkey behind the keyboard here. We have a great show scheduled for you. Hey, it's been a long day, you know?
Today you're Sasquatch.
Yeah, today I'm Sasquatch. Benjamin.
Well, you know, you hit the right buttons, but you fumbled the words.
Yeah.
It's okay though. We don't mind. You know, I'm excited for tonight's show. I mean, the gentleman tonight is doing amazing things. I'm not going to bore you with any details. I'm going to let Jeff and Leo and Jeffrey deal with all that. So
Jeffrey.
Happy Wednesday.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Oh, no worries. No worries. You know, I didn't get a chance beforehand because I'm probably going to screw it all up. It's Jeffrey Sitcov?
Sitcov, yes.
Sitcov. Okay, so I did say it right. Thank you.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, we were busy. We were busy backstage trying to get some IT issues figured out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we couldn't get his camera figured out, but we can hear him, so that's fine. We'll just have to fly with it.
We'll fly with that. You know what I mean? I saw enough pictures of him doing some research anyway. I don't need to see him.
Right?
I'm just kidding, Jeff. You know?
But he is on a Mac. I run Mac myself, so I know the permissions can be a little finicky at times. You know, they want everything to be ultra safe, so they lock down a lot of stuff. So,
Right. Is he?
You know?
Can he still hear us?
Absolutely.
Yep,
Okay.
There you are. Okay. So, first I want to say you are doing some fantastic, fabulous work.
Thank you.
You know, I had never heard about this program before, and I started reading up on it. And, you know, the first question that popped into my head is, why isn't this national?
Well, you know, the homeless youth situation, it's an epidemic in America today. People really have no idea there's so many homeless kids in America. There's 4.2 million homeless youth in America today. And really, the youth that we work with are the transitional age youth between the age of 17 and 25. That is the most underserved of the entire homeless population. You hear about the vets, you hear about the families, you hear about the adults that are homeless. You rarely ever hear about the youth that are homeless. But there's 4 million youth on the streets. And always people ask me, I've been doing this 22 years. They ask me, why are these kids on the streets? You know, why are kids going to the streets? 90% of the youth we work with come from youth that come from such dysfunctional families. Their parents are mentally ill. Their parents are drug addicts. They're alcoholics. They come from such abusive situations. It's actually safer for them to be on the streets than in their home. And 40% of the youth nationally are LGBTQ plus. And when they come out and tell their parents they're gay, they throw them on the streets. Today, in 2024, this is still going on.
Right.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's not good. I mean, you know, at that age bracket, the 17 to 25, I think they kind of just get forgotten because technically people are like, well, you're an adult, get a job, do you think? You know what I mean? They're not looking at the history and why they end up there.
And they might be, quote, 17, 18, 19 years old, but emotionally they might be 13 or 14 years old because truthfully their parents have not given them the coping skills and given them the principles that we learned as a kid on how to succeed in life. These kids are literally, once they're on the streets, they have no idea and they don't trust anybody because they've been taken advantage of by every adult that they've ever met. And it's very hard. You have to gain their trust very quickly. And if you do, we've helped now over 2,800 homeless kids, transitional age kids, get housing, and many of them become self-sufficient as a result of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
So-
you know, I wanted to throw out there that, you know, I've known Ben a long time and he can attest to this. Between the age of, I'd say 20 to 24, that's exactly where I was. I was out on the street. I was sleeping on friends' couches. I was trying, you know, to the box behind 7-Eleven kind of a thing. You know what I mean? That to me, you know, it wasn't necessarily dysfunctional family. That was drug issues. And that's a major problem in today's world too.
Yeah. Most of these youth, most of them, once they're on the street for a day or two, they want to get the hell out of the streets. But they're there because they have to be there. They don't want to be there, most of them. You know, you have 10% of the kids nationally are the travelers. They want to be, you know, have the freedom and, you know, see the world. But the 90% of the youth that we're talking about are throwaway kids, kids that don't want to be in the streets, but they're on the streets because they have to be.
Yeah, and that's a hard nut to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know. Wow.
Leo, you were going to say something?
Let me try to remember. Jeff's question. Yeah. So we know that the homeless situation is getting worse. You know, especially with like the economy as well, and you know, like you mentioned, dysfunctional families. For somebody that is, you know, about to find themselves on the street or thinking about that, what advice would you give them? Like I've heard about, you know, if you have a car, you know, park near, you know, like a gym or something like that where you can use their shower and stuff. What suggestions would you give them if there's no other choice?
There's no other choice, and they have to. I mean, if they're blessed enough to have a car, the car is at least safe. You can sleep in the car. That's they're very blessed to have a car if they do have a car. And there's so many kids in America today. San Diego State University, 10% of the students at San Diego State now are homeless. They're living in their car or they're couch surfing. Okay, and they're getting their degrees, but they financially can't afford it. And for whatever reason, they're in their cars or on, you know, whatever. But what I would tell someone to do if they had to leave the house, I would ask them to Google, because they can go to a library for free and get on the internet. So the first thing is find a library and go on there. You can explore, Google what organizations in our community are working with homeless youth and give them a call, and they can help you. Their case management can help you tremendously, get you the resources that you need, because, you know, these kids need resources. We have last year alone, we saw 603 youth. Okay, that's a lot of kids, and we got them. We got them medical insurance, Medi-Cal. We get them psychological services. They need mental health services, and that's very important because a lot of these kids come from such trauma before being on the streets. When they're on the streets, it's even more compounded. So they really benefit from help from mental health specialists. They need many different things, including housing. And so we get them that. And organizations in Boston, Chicago, Philadelphia, all over the country now have shelters for homeless transitional age youth, 17 to 25. They don't usually like to be with adults because the adults will rape them, they'll beat them, they'll take advantage of them, and they like to stay away from them. So they like to stay with their age group if possible. It's a lot safer for them.
Right.
Okay.
Well,
Now you guys go out and you've got a crew, I'll call it, that goes out and hits the streets, I think twice a week, if I'm correct in what I was reading. To talk to these kids. How receptive are they?
That's a great question, Jeff. Firstly, we go out on the street 4 days a week.
4 days. Okay.
We've expanded because of COVID. Since COVID, everything has changed.
Okay.
And since COVID, we've been on the streets 4 days a week. And what we've done is, and trust is everything. We initially had an award-winning music and art program for 18 years that we saw 8,100 students, youth, the homeless youth in our program. But once COVID happened, we had to stop that program. And we still said, we have to work and help these kids. They still need the resources. And so we came up with a very bright poster, which I wish you could see. But it's a bright poster and it lists all our resources. We put them up all over the city. We put them around where there's inexpensive restaurants, Burger King, McDonald's, etc. We put them around where the libraries are, where bathrooms are, where kids are going to congregate, when they are going to use, and they see these posters and they start reading them. Oh, I can get a free, I can get a free phone, computer, etc. And they start calling us and we answer very quickly. And it's our response time since COVID that really is winning them over. And they start trusting us quickly because 24/7, they can call us at 1 a.m. Our case manager will pick up the phone. Okay. And when they get that kind of quickness that we will, if we're on the phone speaking to a youth, within 20 minutes, we'll get back to them. They're not used to that. And so that's the beginning of them starting to trust us. Then we also come through with our word. We ask them, is it okay if we assess you? We don't know what you need until we assess you because every kid is different. And so if you allow us to assess you, we'll ask you a bunch of questions and then we can suggest things that you might benefit from. And so many of them say, okay. And I need my ID card. I can't go and find a job unless I have an ID card, So we'll actually say, we'll meet you in the morning. We'll meet you at 9 o'clock in the morning. We actually show up at 9 o'clock in the morning and take them to wherever we need to take them to get their different identifications that they need, etc. And by doing it and showing up when we say we're going to show up, by picking up the phone quickly, by coming through with our word, they start trusting us. And then when we get results of these youth, they tell their friends. Doors of change. You can go to these people. They will help you. And so that's how we've actually helped 2,800 kids get housing and get off the streets. And that's a lot of youth that we've helped.
Well, yeah, because you're really just talking about one area.
Yeah.
Right.
And this is like we said, this is a national problem.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just to give our viewers an idea, this organization is called Doors of Change. So can you tell them a little bit about what you guys are doing now? I mean, you've secured some really big names in entertainment to help spread awareness on this issue.
Yes. Trust is everything. Trust for the youth is everything because unless they trust you, they will not ask for help. And so our number one thing is to gain trust quickly. And once they do, they ask more and more and more. And, first I only need a phone. Okay. Then you get on the phone. It's like, okay, but what about, this and that and that? And we start delving in different areas like, yeah, I need that also. And so we help them. And the same thing with musicians, the same thing with celebrities. They don't trust anybody either because they've been taken advantage of by everybody. They've been lied to and taken advantage of. And so Billy Joel was the first angel that trusted me 22 and a half years ago. And he said, I love your vision. I like your passion that you want to help these kids. I'll sign a keyboard for you. And he did. And within 3 months, he started touring with Elton John. And he told Elton John what he did. And Elton John said, I'd be okay to be with them also and help them. I'll sign a keyboard also. So having the two of these megastars that actually endorse Doors of Change, that this is a good organization that you can trust. They're literally doing what they say they're going to do. They have a mission and a vision that we love. We're starting to see the results. That opened the floodgates out so that, the Rolling Stones, Bruce Springsteen, Carlos Santana, Joe Cocker, Aretha Franklin, James Taylor, many, many, many others said, something, if it's okay for those guys, I will trust this organization. And every year we'd send them, articles in the paper that were written about us. We sent them videos of the kids speaking about what it does and how this has helped them. And again, the more they trust you, the more they want to help you. And Elton John and Billy Joel now have signed, between the two of them, 10 keyboards for us.
Wow.
Yes. And I mean, BB King probably of anybody helped us more than anybody, because BB would meet with me for 11 years, twice a year. I showed him articles in the paper. 2 times he met me, he had a fever. It was like 11:30 at night. I said, BB, you're 81 years old. What the hell are you meeting me for? You should be sleeping right now. And he said, I want to help these kids. And I said, would you be okay if we honored you? After the second time that he had a fever, and within a 2-year period, I said, couldn't we honor you? I want the world to know that you've been a huge angel for these homeless kids. And we did. We honored him at San Diego State in front of 4,000 people. And there were 6 national headliners that came to honor him and to come for our organization. And, it gets the word out, because if you can get the word out and educate our community, any community in the United States, most people say, I had no idea of the severity of these kids that are on the streets that are homeless. You don't see them because they look like normal kids. They're very proud. They have a Gucci shirt on. It's the only thing that they have, but they have, a gold chain. They're very proud. It's not like the old bag people that when we grew up with, you see the people with the carts and everything. These kids are very proud, but they're homeless and they need help. So answer your question, we're blessed to have, many, many celebrities, in the last year and a half now, Lucy Arnaz, Lucille Ball's daughter, and Anson Williams, Potsy on Happy Days, who just are celebrating their 50th anniversary this year, have both done multiple interviews with me. And again, people like, wow, Potsy's involved, Anson Williams likes us. This must be okay. And so it just helps us with credibility, with trust, to get the word out. Because again, if people are touched by this and they say, I never know, I don't know who to trust. I don't know what organization to give to. In San Diego, there's about 9,000 nonprofits. So who do I trust? And by trusting in Doors of Change, go to doorsofchange.org. You can see the videos of the kids speaking. You'll see this is real. You'll go and see many of the musicians that are involved with us and some of the celebrities. But it just shows people that when you give a donation, what the ripple effect of that donation is doing, you're literally saving these kids' lives.
Right.
Can I ask you a tough question?
Sure.
Because, my wife and I, we do a lot of donating to different organizations,
Sure.
in my area. And what bothers me the most about some of these larger ones is the percentage of the donation that actually goes to where it's supposed to.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask that question. What percentage of my donation to Doors of Change will actually go to help these kids?
A minimum of 70%. And that's a very good percentage, because we have a lot of staff to help these kids.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
And so,
but because some of them, like March of Dimes, it's like 10%.
Yes. Susan G. Coleman, it's like 40% goes to where you want it to go. 60% is spent on. It's crazy. You want your money to go where you're putting it, and that's why 70 or more percentage for the last 22 years now goes to where you want it to go. And that's why, thank God, people have helped Doors of Change, because they know that, it's going to where they intend it to go. And they see the results every year of the kids when they speak at our concerts. We have concerts every year, big concerts. This year, Casey and the Sunshine Band is going to headline. You know, we're going to have 1,500 people there. Last year, we had Ben Harper. The year before that, we had Three Dog Night. The year before, they had Los Lobos. Every concert we have, between 1,000 and 1,500 people listen to one of the kids speak at the concert, and they tell their story, and it blows people's minds of going from the streets. One of our kids this past year just graduated law school.
Wow.
She was on the streets from 12 to 16 years old, and Doors of Change gave her the vehicle to be able to learn how to make jewelry. And she made that jewelry for 15 years as she put herself through community college. She went to UC Santa Barbara, graduated magna cum laude. And then she said, you know something? I want to help more kids. They need attorneys to be able to represent them, to help them, you know. And so she went to law school, and she literally graduated law school this year.
Wow. That's awesome.
Wow. Well, so we just had a comment pop up that I wanted to get down to. Yeah, where are Doors of Change locations in Texas? And that gets back to one, you know, a little while ago that we were talking about your basically San Diego area.
Yes.
Is there a way, if somebody wanted to start a Doors of Change organization in another state?
You know, it takes so much work in your own community alone. We have helped other communities. We've helped Philadelphia. We've helped Buffalo, New York, where I'm from, and Chicago. Actually mentor some of these programs and share with them what we do. They're going to have to do everything, but we'll share with them what our success formula is. It's not a private thing. We want to get it out because we want more kids to get help. And so they're just going to have to do the work. So if there's a place in Texas, let's say in Austin, Texas, that wants to get in touch with us, we'll share with them, this is what we do. And we found it very successful to do these certain things. Then they're going to have to do that in their community. And there's many good organizations, especially with homeless youth. That's you're talking about the future of the country. These are the kids that if we don't get these kids off the streets, they're going to be like the 30, the 40, the 50, the 60-year-olds that you see that are homeless for many, many years that aren't able to get off the streets. Do you know that age group that we deal with now, the transitional age kids, it's not only is it the most underserved of the homeless population because they're thought of as adults, they don't need it, but they're the most successful of breaking the cycle of homelessness of any age group. That's the key. If you give them a little hand up, you know why? They haven't been on the streets that long. They haven't been so emotionally, messed up, mental illness, drug addiction, or alcohol abuse that they still can get off the streets if you give them help before their feet are cemented into the ground. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
Yep.
I think that, at that age, I think what they need the most is guidance and assistance.
Yeah. We give them mentorship, and we mentor these kids save. When they have jobs, I tell them all the time, you have to save whatever you make, percentage of it, always save. One of our kids, Matthew, he was homeless at 17 years old because his dad used to beat the hell out of him, sexually abused him. And he said, if it happened again, I was going to kill my father. And I had to leave the house. And he got into the shelter we were working with. And, I worked with him for many years and mentoring him about the importance of saving. He saved over $20,000. He got himself through college. He graduated with double degree in computer science and engineering. He's making over $100,000 in Northern California. He's got a 1-year-old now. He's a great citizen. He's a great role model. And again, it was a hand up that we gave him. Now he's a role model that gives hope to others that you can do the same.
Right. I believe that we have a video that was sent to us from Harlan.
Yes, it's excellent.
That we would like to play, but I just want to say to everybody that's watching, you can check the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us, and you can find out all the information on Doors of Change in those show notes.
Yeah. Doorsofchange.org.
Yep.
Okay.
So, Leo, if you want to fire that away.
The thing that made me leave home when I was 12 that was so bad was my new stepfather. He started to abuse me physically, emotionally, mentally, would call me names, drag me by my hair, hit me, kick me. He was basically torturing me.
On the streets is quite difficult, near impossible to trust people really, because they were always looking out for themselves. I had to do the same, look out for myself.
The longest time period I didn't eat for was probably like 3 days.
I was chain smoking cigarettes for warmth. I figured the heat from the smoke, would keep me warm for the night.
I slept in a lot of crazy places. I would sleep on park benches in parks. I slept on the beach a lot. I eventually had a tent. Well, there was one night I slept in a dumpster on top of a piece of cardboard. Thankfully, it wasn't trash day.
I was able to sleep in front of anybody, no matter what. It was like, hey, if they kill me, they kill me. If they would try to rob me, they rob me. It's like, that's just what it was.
I would perform in the streets to get some money. I would just do tricks with a soccer ball.
The toughest thing about being homeless is the loss of hope and trying to hold on to that.
I first heard of Doors of Change through outreach. Jeff was walking around doing outreach.
We're going on outreach, which we've done now for 18 years, twice a week, trying to find homeless kids between the age primarily of 16 to 25. When we find them, we ask them if they'd like to come to a music and arts program. They get free music lessons, free art, free dinners, free food, free clothes, case management, whatever they would like. We've seen now over 7,300 visits now in 6 years.
The staff of Doors of Change are kind. They're always in a great mood. They're always asking to help anyway. It's really nice. It feels like a family.
Doors of Change has helped me because I was homeless at 17 because my biological dad got involved and he punched me in the face repeatedly. And now I'm about to graduate from college, computer engineering. Homeless, degree. Pretty clear line.
It's really important that people that are able to donate to Doors of Change can provide the financial support that we need to continue to provide opportunities for these kids, whether it be music instruments, referrals, life skills, anything that they need help with. They need a lot of support, and even if it's just $5, I mean, really anything can help these kids. And the bigger the donation, the more children are going to end up with opportunities like me that they can make something of themselves and make an impact in this world. And that's why it's so important that we have donors. They really make the whole organization run.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. That had some impact.
Totally. And just a reminder, everybody watching, links are in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. A link to doorsofchange.org and all the information as well.
Yeah, we actually have a brand new video we just put out that's on our website now that is as powerful, not more powerful than what you just saw. It's wonderful that when we educate people that had no clue, and they say, I get it, I see it, and I see that you're making a difference. What can I do? And especially with the economy, how difficult it is for many people right now with what's going on. We actually trademarked the name Angel Team. The California Angels gave us permission to trademark Angel Team. They have never given it to any other organization because it had to do with homeless youth. Our attorney almost fell off his chair when they said yes. But we trademarked it, and we have an Angel Team. So let's say for $11 a month or $18 a month or $30 a month that you will get auto pay taken out of your credit card, you can be an Angel Team member. And even though it's only $18 a month, if 500 people do $18 a month, that's enough money so we can hire a part-time person to help more kids. And so it makes sense that, whatever anybody can give. know that it is going to help these kids have a better life, that we can be examples for other communities. We've already helped 4 other communities right now. We'll help more. We have no problem with that. And wherever you're living, if you are homeless, go and Google who in your area works with homeless kids. We only work with homeless youth 12 to 17. There's adults that are homeless. There's vets that are homeless. There's families that are homeless. But the niche that we work with, to me, is the most important because they didn't want to be homeless. They had no choice other than to be homeless. And we can get them to have a better life. They're going to have to work hard,
right?
But they can't have a better life with hard work. And you
it sounds like most of them, they run from pain.
Sure.
That's why they end up homeless. Yep.
Well,
yeah. I mean, literally, Justine, who you saw, her mom's boyfriend used to beat her up, drag her by her hair, and then started taking her clothes off when she was 12 years old. She left at 12 years old for the streets. She shaved her head, looked like a guy, went into a trench coat so she looked like a guy to protect herself, and joined a gang. And that was safer to be in the gang than was be at her mom's house with her boyfriend. It's sickening. But she was not on the streets for 4 years till she was 16 years old. When I met her, she tried to commit suicide twice when I met her. And she was so depressed, she wouldn't even look at me for two months in the eyes. And now look at her. Now she's a graduate of law school.
Wow.
Yeah. So people can make a difference. And I tell people, if you're touched by this and you don't take action, you haven't helped anything. You know what I mean? It's a waste. But if you're active and you say, listen, I want to do something, I can give $10. That's great. Whatever people can give, we appreciate it. If you're local, if you live in the San Diego area, come to our concert once a year. You know, be there because the kids will speak at the concert and it blows people away. And every year we have good concerts. And Casey and the Sunshine Band on July 27th, it's going to be at the UCSD, has a new amphitheater on campus. It's phenomenal. We'll have 1,500 people there, and they're going to be dancing their brains out for 2 hours, having fun, hearing the homeless kids speak, and knowing that 100% of the dollars that they buy for the ticket, 100% is going to get kids off the streets. All of our underwriters, our sponsors, underwrite all the costs. So 100% of all ticket sales will literally fund getting kids off the streets.
Wow. Now, do you try to work with like local hotels and stuff like that, even if it's as a temporary place to get these kids off the street?
Sure, that's a great question, Jeff. We actually, one of the things that really helped COVID, you make the best out of COVID. It was a bad situation, but you see, what can we do to help more? And we actually, we formed 67 partnerships with different organizations in our community. Several of them have housing. And so we have one of the places has like 60 beds. All right. They have 3 different buildings that have beds in them. And so we're partners with these organizations. We call them, our case managers call them, and they're such good skills that they make appropriate referrals. If a kid, that might be gay in there in this one, then you have someone that has a drug addiction, we'll go to this one. Someone that has alcohol addiction, we'll go to this one. So when they actually, place them in where the best place for that individual kid would be, they're going to get the best results then. The worst thing is if you have a bad placement, within 2 days, they're gone. And that doesn't help anybody. But because when they get a placement from Doors of Change, they know it's an appropriate referral. And that's why we're so blessed that one of the ways we've done this is by partnering with many organizations that have different specialties, mental health, drug addiction, alcohol addiction, that have housing, all different things that will help these kids. We partner with because we're not in competition with them. We want to get the best results for these kids.
Okay. Now, do you work with, local families? I mean, there are any families that actually, would take some of these kids into their homes? Or are the kids not receptive to that?
You have to be specialized, know what you're doing with these kids. I mean, These kids are on survival mode. And you just can't say, open your house and you can come in because you might have all your stuff ripped off from you. You don't know who these kids are. But if they go to specialized centers that know what they do and they have case management that actually work with them and get them the resources for mental health, for job placement, to be able to get them trades. Like the California Conservation Corps is one of our partners. They actually pay for them to learn one of 6 trades: carpentry work, salmon restoration of the fish, actually to be like a go out in the land and be like a forest ranger, that kind of thing. All these things that they'll teach them, and they'll pay them while they're learning full time. And so, or Job Corps is another one of our partners. So we want to get these kids to be self-sufficient. One thing is getting them off the street. The second thing is keeping them off the street.
Right. So what's the average time frame from when you first meet one of these kids to when they're self-sufficient?
Good question.
That's a great question. And again, it's all over the board. But I
figured it was, yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you that when I went on outreach for the first time 22 and a half years ago, and a kid opened up and spoke, I never knew there were homeless kids in our community. I just wanted to go and help kids. And someone said, go and see how they get kids off the streets. This kid opened up and spoke for 15, 20 minutes nonstop. She was 18 years old. I said, what an old soul this kid is. When she left, the outreach workers' jaws dropped down. They said, that's the first time she's spoken to us in 6 months. We've been giving her food, clothing, everything. She would not open up. This is the first time she opened up. So the first thing is you have to open up and they have to trust you. Okay. Once they trust you, from then on, it depends on how motivated they are to help themselves. Some kids, go slow. Some kids go fast. It just depends on how motivated they are that they want to have a better life. They have to work hard. This is not easy.
I'm sure there's those that run.
Oh yeah, sure. But they might come back though. They'll run and all of a sudden they'll come back 6 months later and go, I decided I wanted to be in this. You just never know. We're very stable. You have to be stable with these kids. They know that when they come to you, you're going to be authentic. You're not going to judge them. You're going to be loving to them. You're going to be, not judge them. Like I said, and you accept every kind of kid. Doesn't matter if they're straight, green, blue, white. It doesn't matter what they are. You accept them, and they know that with Doors of Change, they're going to get staff that is just open to help when you want help. And so, and everybody's life is different. They might say had a bad accident, or they might have been, taken advantage of, and it might take them 6 months to say, I want to get help now. That's okay. That's up to them. But we're there for them when they want us. But now these posters, by having our number on it, on our Facebook stuff on it, they contact us and say, I want help. That's a whole different ballgame now, because they're coming to us asking for help. doorsofchange.org. If you're interested in getting more information, this is a way that you can truly help a young person have a chance to have a better life through hard work. And give them an opportunity. It's not their fault that their parents are screwed up. That's why we never work with the parents. You can't help the parents. You have to just help the kid.
Right.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yep. So I wanted to ask you, in a lot of the stuff that I was looking at, it's Doors of Change / Photocharity. What's the Photocharity?
So when I started this, I happen to be a physical therapist by profession, and I practiced for 18 years. I had a spinal cord injury, and I had to stop practicing my therapy. I had 17 employees that worked for me. I had a successful practice, and within a second, boom, my life changed. And I didn't know what to call it. And my photos, I'm an award-winning photographer, and that's how Billy Joel remembered me initially, through my photography. So I figured, photos are the glue to get me together with these, these celebrities and these musicians. And that's how it started, with my photos. So I called it Photocharity. But after a while, people said, how does photos have to do with the homeless? So we decided to change it to Doors of Change, which makes a lot more sense of what we do.
Okay, that answered that question.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Great questions. There are no bad questions. If people have questions, by the way, they can always go to our website, doorsofchange.org, and we have several, different videos there that they can hear the kids speak. They can hear their questions. There's interviews on there and stuff like that. And then if they have questions, they can write them down and we'll answer their questions. Or if they want to get in touch with us and say, how can I help? I'm in Southern California. How can I help? Or I'm in Oregon. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, wherever. And I tell them, go and make a donation online is the number one way you can help, because we had a meeting today of hiring a new case manager. We're so busy right now. We have 2 full-time case managers. They're seeing 124 youth right now. We need a third case manager.
Wow.
that's a great problem. You know, I mean,
yeah, that's a good problem to have.
And we need to raise, $60,000 to be able to have a full-time new case manager to help more kids have a better life.
Or better yet, find some people that can volunteer their time. Then
Yeah.
you can take the donations and put it in other places where it's more needed.
That's correct.
Right. So I am rolling the website down the bottom of the ticker right now, folks.
Thank you.
Like I said before, it is in the show notes up above. I believe the Facebook page and all that is also up there. But just if you can help them, it's right there.
And I think when you see the interviews on TV of these kids, or you hear their speeches, you'll see this is real stuff. This isn't scripted stuff. This is real stuff. And again, it gives people hope that you can really make a difference. You can help and get these kids to a better life so they can be the role models to give hope to others, because these kids don't believe they can get off the streets. They don't have hope. They don't see a light at the end of the tunnel. But when they see Matthew get off, and they see Justine get off, and they see, Tyler get off, and they see all these different Joseph, all these kids that work with us that actually raise the level of their whole life, it's like, wow. It gives them like, maybe I can do that also.
Right. That's a great question from Carrie too. I don't know if you can see that on your screen.
Yeah. So Carrie is asking, when you have younger kids like 12-year-olds, do you work to get them placed in some form of foster care?
That's a great question. Number one, there are two levels when you're working with the youth, from 12 to 17, and then 17 to 25. The 12 to 17-year-olds, there's a lot more funding for them. There's a lot of good support that are state support, county support for the young kids. And so, yes, a lot of our kids are street kids. They don't even qualify for foster care because now they're 18 or over and they never were in the foster system, or they got out of the foster system and they haven't gotten back in time. So they're not foster kids, but the younger kids can be in the foster system. But there's the group like in San Diego called Storefront. It's the only shelter for 12 to 17-year-olds. We were their largest private donor for 10 years. We helped them with our program. We actually instituted them our award-winning Taking Music and Art to the Streets program in their shelters for 10 years. Then we moved that on the streets. But it's so in every city you're going to have 12 to 17-year-olds and 17 to 25-year-old, two different age groups of working with youth.
Okay, and I think your young 20-year-olds kind of get overlooked.
They really do. And I'll tell you something, that's the age group though that they really, can break this, because it's extremely difficult to get off the streets. If you're out on the streets for 5 or more years, it's very difficult. You're cemented. The drug use, the alcohol use, the mental illness, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And it's almost impossible to get them off and to get them, to break the cycle of homelessness. But you can with these younger youth.
So important.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow.
I really appreciate you allowing me to, the education of our communities in America today. If people really realize the severity of this, it's really truly an epidemic, because it's a whole age range that is being lost right now. 4 million kids in our country are homeless right now.
Yeah.
That's a lot of kids.
Yeah. That's the next generation.
Yeah. I didn't realize that. Yeah.
No, I didn't realize it until I got the information.
Yes. And I was going to say one more thing too. If someone likes memorabilia, we are blessed that we have raised a lot of money in memorabilia over the years. And we have stuff on our website right now that, famous people have signed, and that you can buy it and, write it off. But more importantly, you look at it and you know that this is saving kids' lives. And most people that buy our memorabilia never play it, but it reminds them that they're making a difference in helping these kids get off streets. And right now we've got like Steve Martin's got a signed banjo that's on there. And a bunch of other people have got stuff that you can go to the website and it shows you which ones are available.
I can see Leo's already looking at the website.
doorsofchange.org. And
Okay. Well, I'm already thinking of people that could donate something like that.
Yeah, I was too. We're actually going to be with some people coming up real soon.
Wonderful. If they're well known and they go to our website and see who's on our website, who we work with, it's like, okay, this is safe. We would love to have more memorabilia because, again, we can then raise more money to hire this manager sooner than later. We need to expand, keep helping these kids because it's working. And so let's together as a community of our country come together and support things that are working, that are getting these results.
Yep. See, Leo found it real fast.
Yeah.
So
okay. Jerry Seinfeld's involved.
Yep.
Yep. Yeah, there's some people that I will be talking to that can help with this kind of stuff right here.
But this is great, and if anybody's got the money, it's wonderful. But even to be on the Angel team for $18 a month,
right.
A little donation. If people hear this and say, I can afford $18 a month. I can afford $11 a month. 11 is angels. 1 is angels. 18 means life. So those are two big numbers that we use that, for $18 or $11, again, you don't even know what's coming out of your savings because it's, it's $132 a year, let's say, but it makes a difference if 1,000 people do it.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
And again, I'm going to reiterate that information is in the show notes up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. And the reason I'm reiterating that is because this does get ripped down and go to podcast. So this will go out on 19 podcast platforms at the end of the week. Excuse me. Not only that, we're running live on 24 platforms worldwide right now. So.
Well, I'm sorry that we couldn't see the video, but something, they can hear this and that's all that matters. And they see go to the website to see our new video. And if you can do it now and play it now, it's powerful. It's right at the top of the website. And it's different.
Is that something you can share, Leo? Or
working on it.
Okay.
Really. And thank you guys really for letting this get out so that people become aware of this.
Oh, no, you don't have to thank us for that. I mean, one of the reasons why we started this show, 4 or 5 years ago, was to bring inspirational stories out, I guess you could say. It just kind of converted itself to a lot of actors and actresses and people that we have met over the years, but every time we can find a story like this, it's something that we feel has to be shown.
Yeah. We feel so blessed to have, people like, Jerry Seinfeld, have people like Billy Crystal, have people like Robin Williams, who supported us, signed a memoir to us. We got $3,600 for I'll never forget for our auction with his, and they have these wonderful, the Rolling Stones sent me 2 Stratocasters, their own Stratocasters. Yep. We raised $62,000 of those Stratocasters. And again, that funds a case manager right there. Mm-hmm. So we need more and more help because we're getting results and we're getting these kids off the streets and so they can be productive citizens.
Right.
Yeah, and have a good life.
Yeah.
I have that video. It's I'll be able to play it in just 5 seconds here, hopefully.
We'd love your feedback on it because it's brand new.
3.
Yeah.
Come on, waiting for it to load.
Oh, sorry.
I already got it downloaded.
Yeah, you gotta load it.
Here we go.
I was homeless because originally I ran away when I was 12 because my stepfather was abusing me and I was afraid that the abuse would continue to escalate as it was. And I just figured it might be best for me to leave that environment.
I was homeless because my mom was addicted to drugs. She would spend our money or she wouldn't make any money. She would spend it on narcotics. So we lost our apartment.
I was homeless because my mom was going through a lot of mental challenges. She decided to move to Texas when I was 16. I was still in high school. I had no idea what to do. So I had a car and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna thug it out in my car, do my best.
I was homeless because I was facing physical and sexual violence at home. My father had been abusing me for years. I just didn't feel like I was safe, and it was better for me to leave rather than do anything that I would end up regretting later.
The Homeless Youth Advocacy Program came out of COVID because we had to shut down our award-winning music and art program of 18 years. We had to think out of the box of what we can do to reach these youth during this pandemic. And so we started doubling the amount of outreach workers that went on the streets to find the youth. We started putting up posters that actually listed what we do, what they can get help with, and our telephone number and Facebook page. And the youth started calling by the droves.
Outreach certainly is the initial key part of our program, but certainly the case managers and communicating with them is critical, because especially if we're in an outreach moment where youth is willing to sit down and call the case manager, it's important they pick up the phone. We have small windows of opportunities. So we have 2 case managers that are very committed and very aware of their phone, and when a call comes in, they answer.
Doors of Change is different than other organizations, I think, in the fact that they're very hands-on, they're very active, they're very caring. I think, you know, it's very obvious that they love what they do and they do it for the purpose of helping people. It's not just another paycheck, it's not just another job. It's very wholehearted, and us, you know, like the people they're helping, we feel that. I feel that.
Our success with placement and housing is we address the mental illness first. Because honestly, if you get them good mental health, get them to admit they need mental health, and support them, they will find good jobs and they'll keep the jobs. They will stay in the housing that we provide for them.
In 2022, we were able to house 349 youth, which was a record-breaking 188 more than the previous year.
The donors have the most power to help these kids because it all comes down to money. Without the money, we can't provide these resources. These kids need case managers. They need people that are going to help them put their lives back together.
If you're a donor and you're looking to help an organization, Doors of Change is the place to go, because they are active. They say and do as they say they are going to do. They genuinely work from the heart, and to give your money to people who are working with the youth and they're doing it because they love to help people, that's the world I want to live in.
The success stories make me smile because I think of the youth when they were when I first met them and where they are now, sometimes 20 years later.
This is right when I was getting on my feet and turning 18 and starting to succeed. Yeah, this is a cool feeling. It's 18 years ago, and where I'm at now.
Doors of Change has helped me really just kind of get my life on track. You know, the other organization helped me get housed, but that's kind of where it ended. Doors of Change really put their best foot forward and was like, this is what's next. This is, what are your goals? You know, where are you trying to head? And they've been pushing me on that same track and making sure that I stay on that track.
We're small and we're grassroots, and that, frankly, that's what attracts me to Doors of Change. We don't have sort of a bureaucracy to go through. We can respond quickly and urgently, and that to me is part of the success. And I love the smallness because we're small and mighty.
Love is one word to describe Doors of Change.
Wow. Now, have you had any of the youth over the years come back and want to work with Doors of Change?
Yes, we have. We do right now. Elliot has been with us for 3 years. And when we met him, he was living in a tree. And he lived in a tree for 9 months. He actually put a hammock basically way up in a tree and lived way up in the tree for 9 months. And then he got into our music and art program. He originally, played it, and then he actually started teaching the program. And now he's been doing outreach for the last 3 years. So he's part of our staff.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Amazing. We only have about 4 minutes left for this amazing gentleman. We're already over normal time, but we're gonna run it out the rest of the time. So any last questions in the chat that you want to ask? Now's the time. Remember, doorsofchange.org is where you can go. It's also in the show notes up above or down below. So
I'm glad you're getting that down pat, Ben.
Well, there's a lot of shows. We do a lot of shows. I mean, we do one a week, 180 something episodes now. But this is one of those shows where that is a must, that we have to push those links for people, especially people that are going to watch this later or listen to it on the podcast side of things. Yeah. It's not just about the live show. It's about what transpires after all of this. So
now, have you noticed the problem getting worse over the last couple of years? I mean, you hear like with the housing costs and how these Airbnbs are sucking up all the available homes and everything. Do you see, especially also with the economy the way it is, do you see the problem getting worse?
I think we do. I think that again, everything has changed since COVID, because since COVID now, the kids are spread out. They used to be more in clumps together. And when we had our music and art program, we would see anywhere up to 40 kids in a class. That's a lot of homeless kids at one time together. Now we hardly ever see kids because they're hidden. They're there still, but they're more underground. They don't want to be together because they're afraid if they, COVID's still going around right now. And if they get COVID, they could die because they have very bad immune systems and they're not vaccinated. So the combination of that and being on the streets for a while, they really can get sick. So they kind of, spread out, and we see more and more kids are homeless because of the economy, like you're saying. And, right now this year, 2,600 kids have been evaluated by case managers throughout our community as documented 17 to 25-year-olds. There's probably another 1,000 too that have not been documented. So we're talking 26 is the minimum, up to maybe 4,000 kids in our community alone. And that's like that in many places in the country because there's 4 million kids on the streets. So it is getting worse. I think as rates go up, with rent and people lose their jobs and, that kind of thing, it's definitely added to that for sure. And also LGBTQ plus, I can't believe when I started this, it was a problem. And it's even more of a problem now, where kids are getting kicked out because they're gay and their parents throw them out.
I could never understand that.
No.
Wow. Now, do you think that just because of the way the world is and the way the world has been for the last few years, that the tolerance of parents is a lot less these days?
I don't know that. All I know is that there's a lot of abuse going on. And thank God that these kids, they say, I can't take it anymore. I'm not going to get abused. I'm not going to get, physically molested or beaten or taken advantage of, verbally abused, etc. And so they leave. And they just think they're going to, only be on the streets for a couple of days, but they end up being on the streets for a couple of years sometimes. So I think that, there's a lot of issues with parents. That's why we really never work with the parents, because they're not going to change usually. You have to help the kid on how to be self-sufficient, how to do it on your own, and teach them the skills, give them the trades that they can learn so they can, be successful and be self-productive.
It sounds like these parents should be prosecuted.
I'm telling you. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why I'm just so appreciative of you going through this with people. And if people are touched, go to doorsofchange.org, look at the interviews, see around, and then take action. Whether you join the angel team, whether you buy memorabilia, whether you give $20, $100, $5, $1,000, whatever is great. Whatever you can give, it's a get to. You don't have to do anything, but you get to because you know that you've seen enough now to know that we're getting results with these kids. And thank God that people trusted us, because we could have been shysters. You know what I mean? It's hard to know who to trust today.
Right,
but
right.
thank God, I grew up in Buffalo, New York, and you have one reputation. If you screw it up, you're dead. So you always, you come through with your word. You have integrity, and that's what we do in Doors of Change. And when we say we're going to do something, we do it. And thank God people have trusted us 22 and a half years later.
Amazing.
And if you want to start working, if you live in a different state, if you live in a different city, and you want to get involved with Doors of Change in your area, just go to doorsofchange.org and reach out to them, and they can help guide you.
Yeah, and Google homeless shelter in whatever area you're in, and you're going to get things that are going to come up, and talk to them and see how you can help them in your community.
Right, right.
Wow.
So we are a little over time here, and I know Leo has another show, so we should probably wrap this up.
Yeah, well,
Leo?
Yeah, totally. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You know me, you know how to find me, but more importantly, check out Doors of Change. Information is shown us up above or down below, depending on where you're watching or listening to us. Jeffrey, wrong Jeffrey. So Doors of Change, and you said
.org.
And people can contact you through the Facebook page as well.
Yeah, we're on Facebook, mostly on Facebook, but the website will give you a lot of information. And I just am appreciative of you listening, and hopefully you'll take action so we can get more kids a better life for themselves.
Right.
Awesome. Jeffrey, the other Jeffrey.
Yeah, I want to thank Jeff for coming on and sharing this. Sorry. I know how hard it can be.
Benjamin.
So yeah, definitely check out doorsofchange.org, folks. They're doing amazing things in their community out there. If you missed the show, go back and watch the beginning of it. You'll understand what we're talking about. As far as us, you know how to find us. It's stilltoking.com, Facebook page, Instagram. It's all out there. It's in the show notes, as well as doorsofchange.org. I want to thank Jeffrey for coming out and sharing his story tonight. Very, very powerful. We enjoy sharing these types of stories. To all our veterans and first responders, we want to thank you for doing what you do so people like us can do what we do. Stay safe. We'll see you next week. We're out of here.
Bye.